Hey my glam girls, welcome back to my channel. It's Chelsea, where we talk about all things glam and all things girly. I am a beauty enthusiast that loves to talk about everything dealing with beauty and makeup, but I do like to switch it up and throw in a little bit of fashion and vlogging. So if those sound of interest to you, I would love for you to consider subscribing and joining the Glam Girl Squad. And today, I decided to do my Sephora recommendations a little different. You know, kind of have a little bit of clickbait, a little spin on it. So I'm sharing with you my recommendations for the Sephora sale event, but I'm also telling you what to skip, okay? Because there's a lot of makeup, and it's not that it's not good, because some of these are not good. Some of these are actually good, and I'm just gonna share with you a better way to get what you want. So stay tuned for all of that. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I truly do appreciate it. I appreciate and love each and every one of you. So let's get right into this video. Okay, so we're gonna go in order of how I apply my makeup at best. I'm gonna try. I didn't really have any primers for you that I would say don't get this, get this. So if you are interested in other recommendations that I have from Sephora, I'm going to list down in the D box and up here my Sephora recommendations playlist. Anything that I have said that I have ever liked, I truly do stand by it. So you can check those to see if there's maybe products in there that you are curious about that I do talk about. But there's not been any other primers that have wowed me to the point where I'm just like, you must. Like, I like a lot of other primers, but we can skip primer for the most part for this portion. Now, onto foundation. So let's start with what you can skip. I actually love the Lancome Skin Feels So Good. This is like a tinted moisturizer. I wear the shade 08 in Honey. I actually think I have ranked this as like number 2 as my favorite tinted moisturizer. I think it's amazing. However, I'm gonna tell you to skip this one because I have found a tinted moisturizer that is so much better. It is what I'm currently wearing on my face, and it is the new Yves Saint Laurent, what do they call this? Bare Look Skin Tint. This right here is so stinking good. I'm talking like competing with my number 1 tinted moisturizer, which is the Kosas Tinted Face Oil. Good. Okay, I wear the shade Nude 15, and what I like about this particular product is that it looks so flawless on the skin. And for it to be a tinted moisturizer, it actually has really good coverage. I would say this has about good, maybe solid medium coverage. Of course, you can wear it lighter. I love the shade of this particular shade that I have. I think it's very complimentary to my skin, and it's so perfecting. That's what I love about it. I wore this like all through the latter portion of this summer, and every time I wore it, I was like, my skin just looks so perfected. Like my pores are smoothed over. Any like texture that I have on my skin, I felt like it glided over, so it didn't emphasize it, didn't look crusty on top of it, or just sit weird or anything like that. And anybody that I've ever seen wearing it, I'm like, oh my God, what's on your face? And then when they say it's this, I'm like, I know. So in terms of like skin tints, if you're in the market for a skin tint, check out this one by Yves Saint Laurent. I'm telling you, it is good, 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 good. Okay, foundation. Earlier this year, I fell hard for this Gucci foundation. The shade that I have is 350W, and I still love it. I really do. But there's another luxury brand type of foundation that is even better that I think you should check out. Very Valentino, Light Lasting Perfecting Foundation. I wear the shade DR1. I recently had it in my October favorites video, and I am telling you, this particular foundation is so perfecting. This foundation can get you up to full coverage, so it definitely has a very solid medium coverage coming out the gate, medium full to full. And very similarly to the YSL skin tint that I was talking about, so perfecting and flawless on the skin. So these two products, if I don't want to wear a primer that's going to like blur my pores or anything like that, I don't have to, because the foundations take care of it. It is also very like filter-like. Like every time I wear this foundation, I really feel like I have a filter on my face, even though I don't. And it is perfecting. Like I said, really like the Gucci. I really do. But this Very Valentino is something to check out. If you have not checked it out already, if it's potentially on your radar, check it out and report back, okay? Okay. Now on to concealers. Concealer was another category that I was like, you know what? I don't have any concealers to say no to that you can get at Sephora. The first concealer I thought about was the Tarte Shape Tape. So if you are someone who really loves Tarte's Shape Tape, you swear by it, that's the one concealer that you love, I would suggest you try one of these. Either the ABH Magic Touch Concealer, I wear the shade 13, or the Rose Ink Concealer, I wear the shade LX110. Both of these concealers are quite similar in that they are extremely full coverage, like Shape Tape. I mean, the coverage is not lacking at all. Full coverage right out the gate. You only need a very little bit of the product, same with Shape Tape. However, the biggest difference between these two and Shape Tape is that these have a hydrating formula. So I am wearing Anastasia today in my October favorites video, and I'll link that for you. I was wearing the Rose Ink. These do not make the under eye look dry or crepey, and although they're full coverage, they look quite natural under the eye, versus I feel like with Shape Tape, depending on how much you apply, it can look very fake and very like cakey, just a little too much. These don't do that, and granted, I'm sure you could do too much with these if you apply a lot, but because the formula is hydrating, you're not gonna look pasty and dry and just completely made up, but in a negative way. I love both of these formulas, and with both of them, even though they have a hydrating formula, they're not oily, they're not so glowy and dewy that you are just gonna have it like running all over the face and then not covering those areas that you want covered. And what I really like about both of these is that I don't have this like urge to set my under eye. I typically will always set my under eye, but like today, I applied the Anastasia one and blended it out, and then I just ran my eyeshadow on the lower lash line like I normally do, but I did not apply any extra powder under my eye. And we're still looking good. So, love both of these formulations. I think they are amazing. Both of them are very long lasting in terms of their wear, and I definitely think they are worth your buy over a concealer that is extremely matte. And you're wanting, and you typically use that concealer because it's long wearing, it's matte, and it's full coverage. Try these. I think your under eyes will be a little happier. Okay, after concealer, powders. So I did a video on this earlier this year, and I just kind of want to reiterate. Kosas is the powder you want to try. You can leave Dior at the store. That kind of rhymed. Dior at the store. Okay, so this is the Dior Backstage Face and Body Powder, No Powder powder. I have the shade 3N, and this is just okay to me. I think when it first came out, I tried to get into it, and I was like, I mean, I like glowy skin, so you know, I don't want to use the most powder, but I just feel like this did nothing for my pores. It did nothing to like even make the skin look a little more flawless or filter. I just feel like it did nothing. However, I don't want to be a broken record here, but this Kosas Cloud Set Powder in the shade Pillowy is the only powder I have tried this year, time and time again, competing, that every time I put this on, you see the actual pores filled, blurred effect. And that's why I stand for this powder, and that's why I keep talking about it. I have tried this against a lot of my powders, and this powder still reigns supreme. So, skip this one, try this one during the sale. Okay, after powder, we're gonna go with the little bronzer, all right? So this particular bronzer you can't get at Sephora. However, it was a huge hit earlier this year because Chanel finally decided to come out with a deeper shade of their cream bronzer. I actually love it, and I used it quite religiously when it first came out, and I got it. This is in their new shade 395 Soleil Tan Deep Bronze. However, there is a bronzer that you can get at Sephora that is a cream bronzer that I actually love more than the Chanel one. It's what I'm wearing on my face today. And it is the Say Healthy Glow Cream Bronzer. So I have 2 shades. The shade that I'm wearing today is deep bronze. So the deeper, I think this is the deepest bronze. I think this is the deepest bronzer. If it's not, forgive me. If it's not the deepest bronzer, it's the second to the deepest one. I also have this lighter one called medium bronze. So when I use this lighter one on the skin, it gives me a very, very, very subtle bronzer. So as you can see more of the bronzer from the deep bronze shade. I use such a little amount of this particular shade because it is very highly pigmented. But what I love about this one over the Chanel one is that it is a little more creamy, so it blends well, and it's just, I don't know, it really melts into the skin a lot better than the Chanel one does. The Chanel one does really nicely on the skin, so do not get me wrong. I still like it. I don't regret having it. And if somebody said, hey, I really want this one, do you think I like it? Yeah, go ahead and get the Chanel one. But this one is like in the $20-some price range, melts into the skin better, and just like looks so good. And if you are an ingredient conscious person, it doesn't have a fragrance the same one the Chanel one does. And the Chanel one has coconut in it, which a lot of people did not like that Chanel changed the formula. So, you know, this one, like I said, I still use it. Very happy that I have it, but you can get a better deal at Sephora. That's all I'm saying. Okay, now we've done bronzer. Oh, blush. Now this category, we have some things to talk about. So the first thing that I want to say is what you can go ahead on and pass and save your coins on is this NARS face palette, okay? This is the high profile cheek palette, and I was so disappointed when I tried this palette. I was just like, oh, that's it? These shades look so pretty, right? They look so season appropriate. When I saw the packaging and the promos for it, I was like, oh, I am going to love this. And they're just, the pigmentation is just not there. So like I had to dig my brush in it multiple times. I had to switch up brushes. And when I finally got pigmentation, I was like, okay. But it was just like, I don't want to take all of that to get it. The only shade in here that I really like is this highlighter shade. But as a whole, for $59, save your coins and do one of these, okay? First off, the NARS Orgasm on the Beach palette is still bae, okay? Even though these are more like summertime shades, I still use this palette and I still highly recommend it. This one is limited edition, so it's not at Sephora anymore. However, it is still at NARS. So if you want to get this one, go ahead and check out the website on NARS. If you are a first-time shopper at NARS, you can sign up and give them your email, and they'll send you a coupon code, I think for like 15% off. So there you kind of get your Sephora savings right there. Another option that I have for you are the LYS Cream Blushes. Now these are at Sephora. I just checked today. All of the shades are in stock. They're only $19 and you get a little savings on top of that. So worth the money. So looking at the NARS high profile cheek palette, one thing that really attracted me to this palette were these shades. Like I felt like they were very like fall appropriate shades. So from LYS, the shades that I think could work and be fall appropriate that you might be interested in are, I have the shade Confident. This is actually what I'm wearing today. I wanted just like a subtle color on the cheek. So here is Confident, and I'll do quick swatches of these so you can see them. So here is Confident. And as you can see, these blush shades are highly pigmented. They do not come to play. This next shade right here is called Self Love. This beautiful fuchsia shade called Passion. And then lastly, the shade right here called Empower. Gorgeous, gorgeous shades. All of them richly pigmented, and they're very creamy, but they have a matte formula, so they're not gonna be glittery if you don't like, not glittery, you know, like shimmery blushes. They also have some tack to them, so they actually adhere to the skin a lot better than some creams do, so you really don't have to set them if you don't want to set them. Like today, I applied it to the skin, and then I did use a finishing powder all over my face, but I didn't feel the need to go in with like a powder blush to set it because it was too emollient. The LYS blushes are staying. So I would highly recommend those over the NARS palette. the high profile cheek one. Another option for blushes, you know, if the LYS ones are kind of like, I don't really want cream, I want a little powder, the Pat McGrath blushes, ma'am, yes. And she actually came out with trios of her blush and highlighter palette, so you can get 2 blushes with a highlighter. I don't have those, but I have all the blushes, and the formulation is immaculate. Highly recommend them. So once again, wanting to pull some fall-like shades that I think are season appropriate. My favorite is going to be this shade called Electric Bloom. And I'll go ahead and link my video because I do demo all of these shades on the cheek. So if you want to see them actually on my face, you can see them. Love Struck, oh, Electric Bloom and Love Struck are like my top 2 favorite shades. Paradise Venus, this shade is gorgeous. Nude Venus. This is another one. Doesn't really look like much. It also doesn't look like it might really show up on me and my complexion, but it does. Desert Island is the one that has the shimmer formula. So yes, I recommend all of Pat McGrath's blushes. If you've been eyeing any of them, I'm telling you, they are worth the buy, and especially for the sale, you save a couple of bucks as well. So those are my recommendations for blushes that I think are well worth your purchase. Oh, I've got another comparison of blushes. All right, so I recently reviewed this palette and I do like it, but honestly, you can skip this, the Patrick Ta Major Headlines Blush Trio. You can skip this, okay? The reason why I say that you can skip this is because these shades may not be for everybody, and I think the shades in the duos are better, okay? Especially if you're wanting blushes for like this time of year, you know, fall and things like that. So I did check Sephora's website, and a couple of the duo shades are available online. However, shades that are out of stock online, when I checked, you know, like purchase in store, they were available in store. So if you go online and, for instance, this shade right here, She's So LA, this particular shade is sold out on Sephora on the website, but check your local store, because in my local store, this shade is still in stock. And so if it's one that you're interested in, just check your local Sephora stores and see if they are in stock. But these shades, I think, are so much better than the shades in the Trio palette. I could see myself reaching for that Trio palette in the springtime and in the summertime. But if you're like me, those types of shades are not gonna be the shades that you're gonna readily pick for like this time of year. I mean, there's a couple in here. There's one shade that I would reach for, like this one right here. This one I would wear this time of year, but this one definitely looks like a springy type shade to me. And this brown shade right here, on my complexion, it's like more of like a bronzer versus a blush. Versus She's So LA, even though it doesn't look like she's much in the pan, oh my goodness, when I put this on my cheeks, it just brings so much life to my cheeks in a very neutral way. Amazing. I can't explain it. You just have to see it in action. So I love She's So LA, and I would recommend that shade. I would also recommend this shade, Do We Know Her? Once again, love this one. And I think this one is actually still available on the website as well as potentially in your store. And then She's So Different. Just beautiful. So I think the duos, in my opinion, are better than the actual palette. Not by formulation, more so by shade. So that's why I'm saying you could kind of skip the palette, go for the duos. That's it for blushes. Now let's move on to highlight. Now highlight, I didn't have any that I felt like get this one over that. So I'm just gonna recommend the ones to you that I think are just beautiful, so worth your buy, especially if you're gonna save a few dollars during the sale. First, LYS. Once again, this whole brand is just, you need to try it if you have not. So this is the highlight called Genuine. This is the rose gold highlighter, and once again, $19. All of the LYS products are formulated with really good ingredients like niacinamide and hyaluronic acid, things like that that we typically don't see in actual makeup. And the owner is just amazing. This other shade called Fearless is excellent for deeper and richer skin tones. And these glide on the skin effortlessly. They're so, so good. So there's Fearless right here. And then lastly, we have the shade called Brave. This is the champagne shade that works beautifully really on any complexion, because I think even if you have a deeper complexion, champagne has enough of a golden base that it's not going to look really ashy on the skin. So Brave, Genuine, and Fearless, champagne, rose gold, and bronze shade. The other highlighters that I really, really love and enjoy, and I recommend if you haven't tried them, look into them, are these Dior highlighters. So these are the Dior Forever Couture Luminizers. So I have two shades, Coral Glow, which is this like kind of pink goldish shade. I like to use this one as a blush, like a shimmer blush. And these are so smooth, they glide across the skin. I think they are excellent for people who maybe have texture on the skin, and so they want to highlight, but they don't really want a highlight that will really emphasize too much of their texture. I think it's great for that. And then I also have the shade called Golden Glow. Here is Golden Glow. The LYS blushes, I think, could work for skin that has texture. They have just a little bit more, they just have a hint more texture than these Dior highlighters. So here's Golden Glow from Dior. So looking at them close, the LYS highlighters have just a smidge more texture than the Dior ones. So depending on like the texture on your skin and how you might like to wear your highlighters, you might like the Dior ones over the LYS ones. With the LYS ones though, I don't have any accentuation of texture on my skin. And a trick that you could do to always kind of like help a highlighter that might have a little more texture than what you like, after you apply it to the face, spray your face with some setting spray. Either take your brush or your sponge and then dab it over that highlighter, and that will help to melt it into the skin, so that if there is, like, if it is looking a little more chunky than you like, and you're just kind of like, eesh, I need to tone that down, that always works to just smooth it and blend it into the skin. Last highlighter that I recently tried a few months ago, and I was like, wow, I want more from this brand. Ilia. So this is their Daylight Highlighting Powder in Decades. Yo, this highlight, well, let me show you what it looks like on the inside. This highlighter is so blinding, but so smooth. A little bit goes a long way, so it doesn't have to be blinding if you don't want it to be. But if you want to take it there, oh my gosh, look at that. And they have multiple shades. So this is one of the lighter shades, but if you are of a deeper complexion, there are deeper shades. I'm telling you, this looks like everything on the cheeks. So those are my recommendations for highlighters that I think you should check out if you have not tried them. Those have been the ones that I really, really have been enjoying lately. Oh wait, before we go to the eyes, I forgot powder foundation. So I did a comparison of these two powder foundations like way in the beginning of the year, and I still stand by it. I think you can skip the Makeup Forever powder foundation and go with the Fenty Beauty powder foundation. So here's the thing. I have the Makeup Forever powder foundation in the shade Y415. I really, really like this powder foundation. It looks beautiful on the skin, very full coverage, holds up all day long, all the things, okay? However, I think the Fenty Beauty powder foundation has more flexibility in the sense of, when I used to wear this, I actually wore this as like my actual setting powder for my face, but it was so lightweight, it didn't look like I had like two foundations on, a liquid one, and then I added a powder foundation on top, and now my base looks heavy. It does not make the base look heavy. I have worn it without liquid foundation, and it just looks so natural on the skin. So this is a powder foundation that you could glam up if you wanted to. You could build it up and have more full coverage, or you could wear it very lightly onto the skin. This is what it looks like in the pan. Or you could just wear it as a light veil of coverage on the face. And I don't want a lot of makeup on, but I still want my face to look just kind of perfected, take some of that redness away, and it works for that too. Or you could use it as a setting powder. It's such a versatile powder. There's tons of shades. And I don't know, I just think this is a better foundation. Better powder foundation. I feel like you are limited with the Makeup Forever foundation because this does look very much like a full coverage foundation. So if you're someone who wants like a light dusting, I mean, you can always go in with a light hand to get that lighter coverage, but you're just gonna get more from this, and it's not gonna be as natural looking on the skin as the Fenty one. Ooh, I forgot. I forgot. Before we go on to eyes, one more thing. If you are interested in Hourglass and their new palettes, I would say, as much as I like this one, I would say depending on why you are getting this one, if you're looking at this particular palette and you're like, yeah, you know, I like the highlighter, the bronzer is really nice, you know, I could get some good use out of it, and you know, like, I really just kind of want this for the bronzer and the highlighter, go for the Ambient Lighting 3, especially if you are one of a deeper complexion, because, yo, I can't say enough about how bomb these shades are. Now, this highlighter shade is too deep for my complexion on its own, but if I mix it with a lighter highlighter, it's fine. But these shades right here, I can't speak enough about these shades. They are so good, and these are new shades to Hourglass's collection, so they're not shades that are already existing in their line. Now, this face powder is nice. So if you're like, I really want a whole face palette, I want the blushes, the highlighter, you know, the ambient lighting powder, then I would say go for this. But which one is the better of the two? If I had to choose between the two, I'm going with this one because I have plenty of blushes, I have plenty of highlighters. Bronzers is a category, and at least in my makeup collection, that I don't have the most of, and typically when I find a bronzer that I like, I tend to use that one for a very long time. So for me, I'm like, I got so many blushes, so many highlighters, like I'm good on that. But the bronzer is the one that is, if I can say, like the special. And I say that they're bronzers, they're not bronzers, I just use them as bronzers, so that's why I'm calling them bronzers. But these shades are like unique to my collection. So I would say Ambient Lighting Volume 3 over the Unlocked Universal Palette. Okay, now on to eyes. Okay, whew, I got a lot of eyes here. Okay, so first, whew, I'm overwhelmed. Okay, let's start with a little festive holiday one. So I did a review of this one, had a little differing opinions than some. So the Mini Metropolis by Natasha Denona. I think this palette is okay, but to me, the formulation of the palette, especially with the shimmers, the mattes were fine. It was the shimmers that I was just disappointed in. They just didn't wow me, okay? So I think if you want to try Natasha's mini palettes and you want, like, I want to try like her best formulated mini palettes, I'm telling you, go for Mini Nude. This one right here is, I'm not gonna say if it's my top favorite because I need to rank these, so I'm gonna save that for that video. However, I have used this one so much. Now this one is a newer one because my older one broke. One of the shades broke all over, so I have a newer one. But this one, I'm telling you, every shade in here is immaculate. And when I think of Natasha Denona formulation and her good formulation, this palette comes to mind. I think this is actually like, out of like large pans, mini size, this is one of her best formulated ones, hands down. Another one, Mini Gold. And I think Mini Gold looks quite festive for this time of year. You know, I think with Metropolis, because it does look so appropriate for this time of year, I think that also was such a disappointment for me as well, because I was like, it looks so pretty. The combination of colors is perfection. But Mini Gold, let me tell you, you want to try it once again, another mini palette, $25, but you're gonna get a taste of Natasha's formula and her good formula. Go with one of these over Mini Metropolis. I'm telling you. Just trust me on this one. Okay, some other eyes. We got a lot of eyes here. Okay, a lot of eyes. Another one that I thought of, and I said, you know, some people might be looking at it and they might be interested. So Pat McGrath recently came out with 2 quads for the holiday. This is the Bronze Borealis one. I did a review on both of the quads, so I'll link that video for you. I like this quad. I think it's beautiful. Everything worked beautifully. No issues on the formulation. But I have a palette in mind that I think is better than this one. And even though you can't get this one at Sephora, but this is on Pat's website, so if you were considering this one, skip this one and go with one that is a little bit more, but I'm telling you, the formulation is everything. This Tom Ford Honeymoon palette. Oh, okay, so the Tom Ford Wet Dry formula is a formulation that you must try. And I looked at these two and I said, wow, these two color schemes look quite similar. What do you guys think? They're very similar. I would say they're in kind of the same family. So this wet dry formula, I'm telling you, you literally look at the shades and you're like, okay, I'm gonna put this, this, and this on eye. The shades are there, they just blend themselves. That is being dramatic. But I'm telling you, this wet dry formula by Tom Ford is worth every penny. Now, this palette is $88. The quad, I think, is like $54 or $52. So there is a price difference there, but you can get this Tom Ford one on Sephora's website. You can get yourself a little bit of a discount, so it'll bring the price down, you know, to where it's a little closer to the price of the quad. But the formulation, I think, is so much better. And like I said, I still think this is good. So if you're interested in this and you're like, Chels, so I want it, like, is it worth it? Yes, I definitely think it's worth it. I still recommend it. But this or that, I say get Tom Ford over this one. Just my 2 cents. Okay, another one that I thought of, and I said, hey, you know, you might be looking at it. I really enjoy Too Faced Cinnamon and Swirl. I really do. I think it's beautiful. I knew I didn't need to get this palette, but I could not stop thinking about it, and so I got it. And I don't regret it. I think it's great. And I also still say, if you are interested, you want to get it, have at it. But one that I think is better, and that is probably worth the $1 more than that one, is gonna be the ABH Primrose one. Oh, you guys, this one is so pretty. And these two shades right here are blush shades that I actually think are gonna be quite complimentary on a lot of skin tones. Not every skin tone, but a lot of skin tones. And if you're one where you're like, hey, I don't have to use those on the face, I can use them on the eyes, like, you're getting Anastasia formulation. The pigmentation is out of this world insane. Now, some of you all, when I initially reviewed this video, you were like, I'm gonna pass because she used pigments that are not safe for the eyes. So please take that into consideration as to, you know, if that's okay with you. I've used this palette multiple times. I'm just a little careful when I use it. I haven't had any issues, and I don't use this every day, so I'm sure that does help too. But in terms of just looking at a palette and looking at the tones in the palette, try to hold both of these up together. Although both of these palettes are not identical to each other, if I'm going, let me just hold this one up. If I'm looking at this one and I'm like, oh, I like that purple shade, you just get like one, maybe two purple shades in this one. Whereas you get more of those tones in this one. And like I said, I think this one formulation wise is better. Okay, we're not done. We got a lot of eyeshadows. All right, another one that I'm gonna say, and I kind of already said this, but I'm just gonna kind of repeat it. The Pat McGrath Holiday Quad. So here's the other holiday quad. And then remember, I already showed you the other one when we were talking about the Tom Ford quad. These are nice, but my biggest issues with these is that there's two shades in both of these palettes that look so similar, and I'm sure you can see them. And it's like, why did you put such similar shades in both of the quads? So in my opinion, you only need to get one of these if you really want to get them. Once again, formulation is amazing. I really enjoy them. I love having them, but it's just not a need. It's not her better formulated, not formulated, but it's not one of her better crafted palettes. Formulation is amazing, but putting things together. But what I'm gonna tell you that you, I don't wanna say need because we don't need makeup, but oh my goodness, Celestial Odyssey, I'm telling you, skip the quads, save you a little coin because them quads are $54 a piece, so that's $108. Once again, you can't get those at Sephora, but if you were thinking of getting them, pass. Don't know. Get this one. Now you can get this one at Sephora. It's $78. We save a couple of dollars during the sale. But when I say this is everything, I'm talking everything. I can't get enough of this palette. The shades are so beautiful. Formulation is incredible. And one of you all were like, I had this palette, or I don't know if you have it, but you were just like, I look at this palette and all I see are the pinks, and they were talking about one of the looks I created, and they were like, wow, I would have never thought of like that look that you got from the palette. This palette is so much more versatile than it might seem, and what I really love about it is these are shades that are not just like season appropriate. I really can see myself using this palette all year round. I am telling you, this one is worth the coin, sale or not, okay? Sale or not, this one is worth the coin. So skip the quads. If you were looking at anything from the holiday release coming from Pat McGrath, skip the quads, get Celestial Odyssey. Now, another palette from Pat McGrath that I say you can go ahead on right on and skip from the Sephora sale, Mothership 9. Now, before you go there, I know you're like, Chelsea, wait. Because this palette is everything. Wait till Pat McGrath has her website sale, because she puts 25% off. The Sephora sale only gives you a max of 20% off, and you have to be Rouge. So if you have not spent enough money to reach that tier, you're not even gonna save that much money. Being that this is a mama whopper of a palette, $125, save your coins, wait till she has her 25% off sale. She usually has it around Black Friday. You can get this with a much better deal then. So recommend this though. So don't think I'm saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I know I did a little clickbait. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's not worth you getting this during the sale, because you can save more money during her sale. Now, that actually is to be said of all the Pat McGrath palettes that I've talked about. If you'd rather wait until she has her sale and get even more of a discount, you can do that as well. But, you know, I just want to throw a little something in there. A few more palettes that I actually just want to highlight because they are so worth getting. And if you can save some money, absolutely do it. Another one by Pat McGrath. This is an older one. She came out with it last year, I want to say. I mean, look at how much I've beaten it up. Eternal Eden is one of my favorite Pat quads. So if you like this one, it's actually still available at Sephora. I would highly suggest getting it during the sale, or like I said, wait until Pat McGrath's sale and you can get even more of a discount. But I love this one. I just love the colors, and y'all know I like pink. So like if you are a pink eyeshadow lover like me, that and the formulation, honey child. And one more thing, another thing that I love about it is that both of the matte shades I love to use as blushes. So this now becomes a face and an eye palette. Nude Dip by Tommy Ford. This is by far my favorite Tom Ford quad. Every time I wear this quad, you all ask me, what am I wearing on my eyes? Can you recreate the look? And it is just, she doesn't look like much in the pan, but she's everything on the eyes. So if you've been interested in Nude Dip, I'm telling you, save yourself a couple of coins during the Sephora sale and get it then. It is so worth it. I would say out of all of my Tom Ford quads, Nude Dip is by far the one I have used the most and the one I would recommend the most. And I have a few Tom Ford quads, like, you know, more than 5. I would definitely recommend Nude Dip to anybody. And then lastly, of the eyeshadow palettes, Patrick Ta Major Dimensions. I love this palette. One of you all, every time I talk about this palette, you're like, the most boringest palette. And I'm like, I know, but I love it. It's so good. I love the different textures and formulations that are in this particular palette. I just think it's beautiful. And I think if you are interested in it, why not save a couple of dollars? I did do a review of this one, so I'll share that with you. But those are my palettes that I wanted to share. Mascara. So I've tried a few mascaras this year, and the one that I have loved the most has been this one by Ilia. This is the Fullest Volumizing Mascara. And so I would say skip the Kosas mascara. I know, y'all know how much I love Kosas, and I really do like this mascara, but it is so messy, so gumpy, and when the product finally gets on my eyes, I love it. It is amazing, but getting the product onto my eyes, I get it everywhere else, and it's just kind of a hassle to deal with. The Ilia one gives me the same dramatic effect, but all the product stays in the tube and then gets on the eyes, and it's beautiful. So skip this, get that. And then what's on my lips? Because can we just look at her? Because she's so cute. Okay, so I have been on a quest to be in better health, okay? I am not over here doing things perfectly, but just in a quest to be in better health, right? So if you're watching this the day that I put it up, today I just completed 12 days straight of working out, okay? So I'm committed every day I wake up and like the goal of the day is to try to work out. So one of the things that I love to do is ride my Peloton bike, okay? I love Tunde. Love her. And if you've ever ridden with Tunde, she always comes with this poppin' lip. And so you guys know I love to review makeup. I love everything dealing with makeup. And after a few rides, I was like, Tunde, what's on this lip? Because as I'm like heeing and hawing and yelling and screaming because I'm so much in pain trying to get through this workout, I'm like, what is on her lips? So I did a little bit of research, went on Tunde's page, and she had it saved in her beauty section. And this, my dear, is a Sephora liquid lipstick. $15 regularly priced. This is shade 94, and this is called Blooded Crimson, I think. Is it Blooded Crimson? I might have the shade name wrong, but the number is 94. You would just marvel at her. Oh! It is so beautiful. This is the first time I have ever tried the Sephora liquid lipstick. So if you have tried them and you're already like, Chelsea, where have you been? Leave additional shades down below because I really feel like I need to get all of them. Okay, liquid lipstick, obviously it's a drier formula, but as soon as it gets on the lips, it immediately dries down, but my lips don't feel crusty, and my lips actually are very crusty underneath this. For some reason, my lips have been cracking the past couple of days, which is quite odd because I've been drinking so much more water because I've been working out, so I don't really know what's going on with my lips, but I wanted to let you know that although this is a very liquid lipstick formula, very dry formula, my lips underneath it do not feel like a Sahara desert. And then what Tunde does, she says she just pops on a lip gloss over top of it, so that's why her lips are like so glossy and shiny. But this is the base color. It lasts so long. I'm telling you, like the first day I got this, I had it on all day. I ate, I drank, and even when I took my makeup off, like I had to go over my lips multiple times to get this off. This thing lasts. It is so fire. So fire. So I wanted to share that with you because during the Sephora sale, any of the Sephora collection items are going to be 30% off. So no matter what tier you are, you will be able to get 30% off the Sephora collection items. So this is $15. Let's do the math. 20% off would be an extra $3 off, $12. So now this will take it down to $10.50. 30% off. I think it's definitely worth something that we should try. Okay, and guys, that is it. Those are all of my skip this, get that recommendations from Sephora. I hope you enjoyed this style of video, and if you do, leave it down in the comment section below because maybe I'll do it again. I actually had a lot of fun talking about products that you could skip because this is better. Tell me in the comment section what your Sephora recommendations are, especially if it's a product that I haven't tried but you have tried and you think I might love it. You know, leave it down in the comment section. And if you've made it to this point in the video and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, I would love for you to consider subscribing and joining the Glam Girl Squad. And guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in my very next video. Bye, guys.